Happen. So
yeah, Holland Hornets, big win tonight, 20-3 at #1 Mart. And Curtis has been out that game all night long with the wrap up.
The week is sponsored by Baylor Scott and White Health.
Curtis, I mean, you called it. This is a game where a huge measuring stick for Holland, and they did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, guys, my favorite 4 words at this job are "I told you so," and frankly, when I get back to the office tonight, I told you so. 20-3 is the final score. Holland over #1 Mart, the 2-time defending state champs. Don't get me wrong, Mart is a very good team, but for Holland, this is a huge win. We're joined now by the quarterback and the senior cornerback. He's just all over the place tonight. Zane Spin. Zane, how big is this win for this team tonight?
I mean, it's one for the books. I mean, I don't know if Holland ever has beat a #1 team, and I mean, we're excited. We're all excited. We were coming in this game excited, and we're just grateful.
There were a few points in this game where a lot of you guys were doubled over. This was a physical game. This was a fast game. What was the message in the huddle, and how hard was it to just mentally keep pushing through a grinder like this?
I mean, we just kept telling the O-line, it's going to start with you, it's going to finish with you, and we told them just keep on pushing. I mean, there's a bunch of them playing both ways. We don't have our linemen, they don't play both ways. So it was mainly just, you got the advantage, just keep on pushing. Me and Cooper are going to try to get it together back there.
At what point did you guys feel like you had this game? Because nobody had momentum until about 6 minutes in the fourth quarter, and it wasn't you guys who got it first.
To be honest, I mean, I didn't, just because knowing who Mart is, I didn't even think we had the game until it was about 2.5 minutes left, even though we were up by 17 points. So that's, I mean, I was always ready for them to do something squarely.
How do you build on this going in? I mean, you got 2 games left before you get to district play, a district that includes a Hearn team that took care of Grosbeck on the road tonight, and a really good Thorndale team. How do you guys build on this before you get to District 13?
Just keep our heads low, just don't take it for granted. I mean, we take it one game at a time. We're only promised 10 games. I mean, there's a bunch of us seniors left, and that's basically Coach Talbert's message to us: one game at a time, one play at a time.
You guys going to celebrate this one tonight?
Yes, sir, we are.
Zane, thank you very much, man. Best of luck to you the rest of the way. Let's bring in senior running back and linebacker now, Clay Cooper, another guy who stood out in this game. And if you want proof, I mean, the guy's pants were a different color toward the end of the game. I don't know if you can see that on TV. Clay, how big is this win? And after the game, when you guys get in that huddle with Coach Talbert, what's the message?
I mean, we didn't quit. It was every quarter, every play. I mean, going into the halftime, it was 0-0. I mean, Coach Talbert said, pull it together in line, pull yourself together, and hit them hard. And we ended up coming through. Special teams, defense, and some good turnovers. So it was a great game.
Physical game, fast game. Like I asked Zane a second ago, there were some times where a lot of your more athletic guys were kind of gasping for air.
Yes,
how did you guys grind this one out? And what's the message? What was Coach Talbert's message in every one of those huddles and timeouts?
Don't quit. I mean, it's next play, next play. I mean, we do circuits, so it's next lift, and then we do sprint. So you got to keep moving and keep pushing. You don't ever quit.
Was it one of those that you didn't feel like you guys had this, even with the momentum there until the clock hit 0?
Oh, I mean, the whole first half, it was just defense, offense, defense, offense. No one was moving the ball. We had a big play at the beginning. They had a big play at the beginning, but after that, it was just defense, offense. And then in the fourth quarter, we just didn't quit. We know we're conditioned good, and we just kept playing.
You guys have 2 games left in your non-district slate, a tough non-district slate. You go to 3A Florence next week, and then Crawford the week after that, who just beat a top 6 team in 3A Division II tonight. What do you guys need to build on in those last 2 games before you open up District 13 play?
Keep moving forward, listen to our coaches, game plan good, watch film, keep lifting weights, keep eating good, and just taking care of our bodies.
What's next? And have you guys found the ceiling for this team yet?
I don't think so. I mean, it's just going to keep moving forward.
Clay, really nice job tonight, man. Congratulations to all of you guys. Celebrate this one. You earned it. 20-3 is the final score. Holland takes care of Mart here at the Mart ISD Athletic Complex tonight. The 3rd time in the past 8 years. That's the Brad Talbert era, guys, that Holland has beaten a ranked team. They've always been the underdogs in those games. And one other thing worth noting, Coach Talbert after the game told me he believes that is the first time in school history that Holland has beaten Mart. So anytime you can beat one of the state powers, because, guys, those 7 signs on the press box here, they're here for a reason. This Holland team is legit. We've been telling y'all that since August. So a big win for Holland here tonight, and we'll kind of set the scene coming up toward the end of the show, guys. But for now, in March, 20-3 is the final score, and that for the first time, the Channel 6 Game of the Week championship trophy is headed to Southern Bell County, guys.
Unbelievable game. Unbelievable game. This was 0-0 for the longest time.
Yeah.
And then
We were
all of a
like, what's
sudden,
going on?
yeah, fourth quarter explodes, and hey, congratulations to Holland.
0-0 till 11 minutes in the fourth quarter.
That's crazy.
Curtis's #1 team, so
He called
happy
it.
you're there for
Nostradamus.
it. Yes.
He called it. Well, listen, if Martin Holland did not play tonight,
Yes.
this next game would have been our game of the week.
This was a crazy game. #1 ranked La Vega faced off against #3 Argyle in one of the biggest matchups in the state. Before the game, La Vega inducted their inaugural class into the La Vega ISD Hall of Fame, which included Dave Campbell, former Major League pitcher Arthur Rhodes, and track and field national champion Stacey Bowers. Opening drive, Jake Sullivan from Argyle fakes the handoff and then passes right into the end zone to Jasper Lott for the touchdown. The extra point was good, so it was 7-0 Eagles at that point. Next drive for Argyle, Sullivan hands it off to Bice. He takes it down the field for another Eagle touchdown, which made it, with the extra point, 14-0. But the Pirates were not backing down. They answered right back. Kenny to Cummings, a short pass, but he takes that one all the way home. No one in sight after he gets past this group. 83-yard touchdown made it 14-7 with the extra point. Here he goes.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was a long one, and then they were so excited about this
Look
one.
at 'em.
But they obviously answered right back. Bice at it again, pushes into the end zone. At that point, it was 21-7. Let's see how this one ended up.
Ooh.
49-35 Argyle. That was a really great game. Now,
All right, let's head out to Gatesville. Hornets scoring off against Robinson. Colby Crow in the shotgun. Hey, Rockets, I mean, they were taking off quick. Looking downfield to Jordan Rogers. Hey, where's the defense? Nowhere to be found. Outruns everybody. Rockets blast off 7-0. Gatesville would go 3 and out. Look, we talk about it all the time. Special teams can make a huge difference in high school, college, NFL. Jace Walker, looking like Devin Hester, finds the seam on the right side. This is me in Tecmo Bowl back in the day. Gone to the house, 65 yards. It's now 14-zip Robinson. Rockets next possession. Crow hands off to Brady Kay, makes one man miss. He's off to the races. 21-zip at that point. Let's go to the big board because the Rockets were all over tonight. 55 to lead the final.
That's a big one. Next, we head to Waco Conley, where the Cadets squared off against the Tigers of Glen Rose. Second quarter, it's 4th and 10 for the Tigers. The pass from Stewart is picked off by Marcus Long Jr. He makes it all the way to about the 50-yard line. He keeps going, and then he's brought down. Next, a few plays later, JV on Sunday on the long run, weaving in and out. He steps out of bounds at the 30. Next play, there he is again, Sunday for the touchdown. At that point, it was 28-3 Cadets, and let's see how this one ended. Connolly, 35, Glen Rose, 17.
Yeah, Sunday scoring on a Friday.
Yes.
Lorena Leopards playing host to the Franklin Lions. First quarter, Lorena up 7-0, driving. Bradley Lina connects with Ty Moore. Finally, our cameraman, I don't know what he's doing. Is that Barry? That's Barry right there, Barry Roy. Hey, it's his first time in a while. He gets it together right there. A few plays later, the physicality in this game on display. Red Hansen takes a pounding after a gain of 5 yards, but Lorena not letting it stop. Quarterback keeper from 17 yards out, Lina taking it to the house. 14-zip Leopards. But Franklin, they would not be denied. Like an old cockroach that wouldn't die, they were not dying. Second quarter, they finally would punch it in. Malcolm Murphy would not be denied. He's going to run it in from 24 yards out. They cut the deficit in half to 14-7. We go to the big board. Lorena, they pull out a big win tonight,
Wow.
42-21 at home.
And now let's head out to Mejia, where the Black Cats faced off against the Teague Lions. Mejia leading 8-0 in the first. Black Cats' Jaden Proctor says, I'm going to keep it. He runs through the defense for a 40-yard touchdown. 14-0 Mejia. Teague's, oh, not yet. Here we go. Teague's Jared Bodine hands it to Green. He tries going down the middle for a short gain. Teague having a hard time.
No.
Bodine throws it. Here we go. Devon Cooper catches the interception and goes into the end zone. It was 21-0 at that point. Let's see how it ended. Mejia 49, Teague 22.
All right, scores from around Class 4A. Salado Big win, or they're going to win right here, 52-21. Bard, some unbelievable comeback. China Spring, they win by 20 over Addison Christian, 34-14. Hey, speaking of Class 4A, let's go to Robinson Rockets. They had a big win tonight.
Yes.
We have their head coach, Tommy Allison, on the phone as we speak. Coach, first of all, big win tonight. What was the key to tonight's success here?
You know, the kid just played really hard. We were fortunate to get up to a pretty quick start, score early, and catch a couple turnovers. And kids played hard, and we had a lot of fun tonight. Tonight was a good night to be a Rocket.
Hey, what do you like about your teams? What they did tonight, but what do they need to work on for also next week as well?
Well, first of all, I love this group of kids. They're a great group of kids that love each other, that play hard for each other. We're playing great defense right now. Our guys are really flying to the football, and so we're doing a lot of really good things. It's just being, good teammates and playing hard. We still turn the ball over again tonight, so that's definitely one area that we definitely need to improve on. And and fundamentally just be better every day. We still got a long way to go, but it's been a pretty good start to the season for us.
And how important was it to play a tough non-district schedule that helps you prepare for district play?
Yeah, that's a big thing. We haven't beaten Gatesville since 2011. That's a long time. They've got after us pretty good. So maybe we got rid of some of those little demons or whatever we got in us that they've had for us the last several years. So that was a big one for us. And to play them, and next week to play Troy, a highly ranked 3A Division I school. It's good. For our district that we play in, it's arguably one of the best, Division II 4A districts in the state. We definitely need to play some of these teams. So it's got a long way to go, but it's sure nice to win a ball game.
We're watching some of your highlights right now. Some big, long touchdowns, passes. You had the big special teams touchdown. How big is that? Because people don't realize, when you return a punt for a touchdown or a kickoff return on a touchdown on special teams, that can create a lot of momentum to carry you throughout the game.
Yeah, those are game changers. That's the first time we returned a punt for a touchdown here, maybe since I've been here in the last 9 years. So that's big. And that's just such a, it's such a backbreaker for your opponent. When you're able to hold them on defense, they punt it, you're able to run it in for a touchdown. That's huge. And that was big for us. We had a big touchdown pass over the top, Joseph to Jordan, and then to hold them, and then for Jay to return that punt. That was really what started the momentum to go our way. So that was big.
We talk about the mindset of the team after the game. How fired up are they? And, of course, like you said, you have Troy coming up next week, a big game. They have a big bruising running back with Zach Hrabashik. What's the mindset right now going into it?
It's great. We're making a big deal about celebrating victories. You work so hard, and you're in the 103, 105-degree heat every day, and just busting your tail to get better. And so when you win a game, no matter how big or how small, we're going to celebrate it. Our student body has been incredible. Our student section, I put up with anybody, and our band was incredible. And so, our kids, as soon as we shake hands, man, they're running to the stands to celebrate with our student body. So, they're on cloud nine to celebrate with them, and they're going to enjoy it. They're going to enjoy it tomorrow, and then the focus is going to turn to Troy.
Coach, hey, awesome win. We appreciate you joining us tonight. Get some sleep. A lot of college football tomorrow. NFL football starts on Sunday, even though it started last night with that snooze fest. But I hope you barbecue. And if you do barbecue, bring some food over here because we're pretty hungry.
You got it, Nick. Tomorrow's going to be a great day. A little film, and then got some A&M, got some Texas. It's going to be awesome. Cowboys on Sunday. Let's go, man. Thanks for all you do, Nick.
Those Cowboys better win. I tell you what. Coach, congratulations on that win. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
All right, head coach Tommy Allison. that's a big win for Robinson, putting up over 50 points, and then they had some long plays for touchdowns.
Yeah.
All right, look, let's jump down to Class 3A. Groesbeck Goat, one of the best mascots I can ever imagine, lost by 3 last week to Rice. And
the Goats are picked 5th in the district this season, but should finish non-district on a good note.
Yeah, the Goats welcome Hearn tonight. Listen, they were down 19-zip in the second, but they were trying to go back here. Zach Wilson throwing to Brandon Morrow, but Hearn's Jabari Dunn blocks it. Next time, Wilson keeps it, going to run it for 6 yards and a first down. But look, it's not enough to score. So Hearn's Jabari Dunn, he's going to get the ball, runs to his right for a short gain. Penalty against the Eagles for blocking in the back. That doesn't help, but you know what? Hearn shuts out Groesbeck tonight, 19-0.
Scores from around Class 3A, West and Eastland. Eastland came up 49-7. Marlin and Whitney. Whitney came up 47-zip. Florence and Jarrell.
Oh, Gerald.
Sorry.
Are you still from the Northeast?
Yeah, I'm not from the Northeast. Caldwell and Rockdale. Rockdale 37, Caldwell 22. Troy over Lexington 28-6. And
how about that? Crawford.
Yeah, over the number 5. Clifton. Crawford had 16 to Clifton, 12 the final. And now let's check out the scores.
Hold up. Lampasas there, 59-20, late fourth quarter. So Lampasas is really good as well.
That one's not over yet. We don't know.
Yeah. All right, let's check out scores from Class A. Milford over average 60-14. 53-8. Oakwood over Aquila. You're going to see some big scores in this one for 6-man. 20-6. Jonesboro with the win, and Coolidge they fall 61-16. Scores from around taps, Nikki.
McKinney Christian 44, Riker 6. Lake Country 47. Centex Christian 26.
Also, see Waco Methodist, they win 45-0. Live Oak, they fall in a shootout to Waco Parkview 56-44. All right, well, let's go to our Player of the Week segment. It's something you do every week. And, you know, last week, Shoemaker put up 54 points in a big win over Midlothian.
But now, one of the reasons was because quarterback Ty Bell, and that's why we picked him as this week's Gridiron Player of the Week. Last week's opener against San Angelo Central was not only the dawn of a new era at Shoemaker High School, but the first varsity start for Grey Wolf quarterback Ty Bell.
I was very nervous first coming in, but I have wonderful teammates, and they helped me through it, the ones that have played varsity before, and it was just an easy performance. Give them the ball, make the right reads, and then the game just came easy from there.
Those nerves he spoke of, non-existent when he stepped onto the turf. Bell completed 13 of 21 passes for 190 total yards and 5 touchdowns.
For a first varsity start, that's exceptionally amazing. Throw 5 touchdowns in one game, especially going against San Angelo.
Shoemaker head coach Toby Foreman said he had no problems putting the offense in Ty's hands.
Ty's an intelligent football player, and he makes good decisions with the football. And he runs the offense. He takes control of the huddle. Anytime there's issues, we can go to him, and he kind of, he gets them straight. So, anytime you have a guy like that that leads from that position, then you know your offense is in good hands.
The Grey Wolves sailed past the Bobcats 54-21 in Week 1, which according to Ty has boosted their confidence. But he said this week they're working even harder.
You see us at practice right now. We still got to work hard. Midlothian is a whole different team from San Angelo, so we just got to go in, prepare harder than we did last week.
Ty's teammates see a bright future for him, crediting their leader as the best quarterback in the district. Someone who knows how to stay focused but also have fun on the field. As for Ty himself, he dreams of playing D1 college football and hopefully down the road play in the NFL. And last night they had another win over Midlothian, so let's see what's in store for them this season. I have good feelings about them. I think they're a hard-working team.
Hey, Toby Foreman, I've known him for a long time. Back to his West Orange Stark days, he's going to get that team ready to rock and roll. And they're off to a good start so far.
They really are.
Hey, speaking of off to a good start, let's go back out one more time to Curtis Quillen, who is live in Mart.
This week's Game of the Week is sponsored by Baylor Scott and White Health.
All right, Curtis, big win by number 13 Holland, 20-3. What's your take from tonight's game, from both teams? I mean, both teams are incredible, but especially from Holland's side.
Guys, I think this game says a lot more about Holland than it does about Mart. Keep in mind, since 1999, I'm looking at the signs right now. So since the turn of the century, Mart has won 4 of their 7 state championships, and not a one of them has been with an undefeated record. So there's one reason why I think this says a lot more about Holland than it does about Mart, is because with Mart, it's just the next game. For Holland, you needed something to inspire that confidence, that belief in the team, because they believed in themselves. We saw in the crowd tonight that the buzz in this town is real. You needed something to cement it, to put your stamp on the Texas high school football map, and a win against the 2-time defending state champion is a heck of a way to do that, to build that confidence. And let's face it, Nick, it's an inevitable thing in sports. When you beat a 2-time defending champ, people take notice. Schools in Holland's district include Marlin, Rosebud Lot, and Milano. And so, if I'm one, you have to think that somebody, even if it's just one person, is looking at the Holland Mart score tonight and going, yikes, we have to play those guys. But kind of, I want to touch on Shoemaker for a second, if you don't mind, because guys, we talked about this last year, Nick, if you'll remember. Everybody in that 6A district here in the area was saying that you can't sleep on Shoemaker. That first year or two of the losing streak, that 23 games or something like that, you could kind of go, okay, we can practice a couple things against Shoemaker to get ready for Temple, to get ready for Belton, to get ready for Killeen, to get ready for Midway. Yeah, that doesn't fly anymore, and that started last year. We had a few coaches tell us off camera and off the record, like, you know, if you look past Shoemaker now, you get beat. There were teams that game planned and worked as hard as they possibly could for that Shoemaker game last year, and to lose to have to win on the last play of the game, or win because Shoemaker's attempt throwing to the end zone on the last play of the game came up a little bit short. So don't sleep on Shoemaker either. They are very much in contention for that fourth playoff spot coming out of 12-6A. But let's be real, 12-6A is such a frickin' toss-up right now. It's like, where's the coin and what side's it going to come up on who's in and who's out?
Hey, listen, 3 state champions lost tonight. La Vega, Mart, Cuero, that's 7 state champions in the last 2 weeks. That tells you the parity right now in high school football, where the state champion doesn't always come out swinging and dominate.
Because they don't always have all their players back either. It's
exactly.
Like
Some of them are injury, brand new teams, losing seniors.
You guys also have
that's
to know you guys have to look at some of the schedules these defending state champions are playing too. North Shore Katie's a top 5 game last week. Katie beats North Shore, the defending state champion. And honestly, you can't tell me that some of the Katie staff isn't down there going, yeah, we beat them once, but that Zach Evans kid's going to be back in that playoff game, and their other best player is going to be back in that playoff game. Then you look at Aledo. Denton Geyer, who they lost to last week, is a top 10 team in 6A, and Aledo's 5A Division II. By the way, they're in University's district, and they open district play next week. So that's not really a bad loss for Aledo, because it's like, hey, we lost to a school that's going to go in the 6A Division I, or I believe Division I bracket. You go out west, you go to Mason. They lost to Wall, which is a powerhouse program, Nick, that's always in the quarterfinals, running into a machine we like to call Brock in 3A Division I. And so that's not a bad loss if you're a Mason fan to the school that's probably going to win Region 1 in 3A Division I. Strawn lost their first game of the year last year. They're the defending 1A Division II champion, and they lost their first game again this year. They're probably still going to repeat in the 6-man ranks. You know, Cuero, I'm trying to remember who they were playing tonight. For some reason, I want to say it was Yoakum. And that's a Yoakum team, if I'm correct, that is a Yoakum team that was in a state championship game like, what, 2-3 years ago? So, and then Mart scheduling, like, these two teams wanted to play each other. They looked at this as a great measuring stick, as a great building block to see what they've really got. What do they need to build on? Because, yeah, Mart lost tonight. They're going to be in the playoffs, and they're going to be making a run. They probably will be at AT&T Stadium still. Holland is going to make a run. And, Nick, we talked about this, and I said it in our sports department group chat. 3rd round, when they played Mason at the Palace on Palmer down in Round Rock, dibs.
Yeah.
I mean, all these top-ranked teams are scheduling games against top-ranked teams because they want to get themselves ready for district play.
Right. And that's why Clifton is scheduling Crawford. That's why La Vega is scheduling Argyle. If I'm Don Hyde, if I'm anybody in the La Vega program right now, I'm sitting there looking, okay, sure, we lost the regular season matchup. You know what happened last year? Argyle beat La Vega week 2, and then La Vega just took it to them in the playoffs. Like, I mean, when you have these matchups that it's like, okay, first of 2 meetings, let's face it, you kind of have to look at it as you have to take the result in the first meeting with a grain of salt. Is that a game that Don Hyde wants to win? There's not a coach in Central Texas that doesn't want to go 10-0 every season or 16-0 every season. But if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, you know, a loss to Argyle now isn't the worst thing in the world. Now you've got tape to show, hey, here are our weaknesses. Now, if look at this from the La Vega perspective. So this is week 2, and they've got 4 district games. So if my math is correct, they've got 4 non-district games remaining with a bye right before district play starts, and then they open with Stephenville at the new stadium at Tarleton. So next week they go to Austin Travis, or not Austin Travis, they host Austin LBJ. Last year it was one of those things where La Vega let one loss beat them twice, and they lost to LBJ on the road, but it was kind of just one of those games. Then you close out you close out non-district play at La Vega with a road trip out way east, out I-30 to Texarkana Liberty Ilo, who, by the way, played in the second round of the playoffs last year and lost to a really good Lorena team. La Vega's got plenty of time to get everything going. Yeah, you'd like to win against Argyle tonight. It's kind of a budding rivalry in the Texas high school football world right now. But, I mean, I don't really think you can take much away from a 14-point regular season loss, and there go the lights.
They're kicking you out.
They're saying,
this hasn't happened.
Time to go.
This hasn't happened in 3 years, guys. But, yeah, I mean, if I'm La Vega, if I'm anybody wearing blue and gold up in Belmead, I'm not hitting the panic button right now. We've still got plenty of time in the season to make adjustments and move on from here. Nick, what I want to ask is there a team, and Nikki, I want to get your thoughts on this too, if you have thoughts on this. Is there a team that you've got some questions about right now?
Now you're going to put me on the spot. I'd have to think about it. Well, Midway.
That's what I do best.
They have a couple. It's a new team. I think they lost again tonight, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember. We have so many. They were losing.
I don't think we had the final, but I think they were losing.
Midway. But I mean, again, they did that last year.
You have to remember though.
They went 0-2 last year, and then all of a sudden got on a hot streak, and then rolled into it.
Well, they didn't go 0-2 because that game against Lake Ridge never finished because of the weather delay.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, a lot of coaches in the 6A world were talking like, if you listen to some of the interviews on some podcasts with Amarillo Tascosa's coach late in the playoffs last year, when they came across Mansfield Lake Ridge, they're like, this is a Lake Ridge team that's either, I think it was like 12-0 or 13-0. It depends on how you count that Midway game, because Lake Ridge did own momentum in that game. What did Midway do? Rattle off 8 in a row to end the season, make it to the dang state quarterfinals. So, I mean, I don't know how. Jeff Hume is one of the best coaches in Region 2, and I'm not saying that to blow smoke. He made it very clear last year with a brand new team, losing a Power 5 quarterback, and he makes it right back to not only to the state quarterfinals with a brand new team, but Nick, to the state quarterfinals in a bigger division than where he made it to the state championship game the year before that. So, some questions about Midway. Might I interest you in a Harker Heights answer? Because I have, and it's not a knock against Jerry Edwards. Stony Point is a decent team.
Yeah.
They play, Harker Heights loses to Round Rock last week, and I think that game said more about Round Rock than it did Harker Heights. But I mean, Stony Point's a decent team. Is Stony Point really going to be a problem out of District 13 this year, or
No.
are we looking at Killeen and Harker Heights kind of in a different way? Because remember, Harker Heights' coaching staff was super, super bullish on this team, equating them, Nick, to the 2016 team that won the Killeen City Crown and made it to the playoffs.
Yeah, and Waco High this year, it looks like they are just taking a downfall. I think
they're really young.
Of course, Midway, Temple, Belton, and then maybe an Ellison. Maybe, like I said, maybe a Killeen, maybe a Heights. I don't, just depends. It depends on what we see.
I think it's funny you bring up Ellison, because I think they're the team we know the least about in Central Texas. I mean, think about it. 2 top 10 teams or 2 top 15 teams in their non-district schedule. They go to A&M Consolidated, and I think that game told us a lot more about Consol's offense than it did Ellison's defense, because keep in mind, Consol won the state 7-on-7 tournament in Division I, so you don't do that with a bad offense. Then you look at the Vandegrift game from last night. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on that, but I mean, that's a famous Black Rain defense. You hold them to, and I mean, if you're Ellison, you're 2 big plays on defense from sending that game to overtime. Think about, Nick, they set up the first touchdown that Vandegrift scored was a 57-yard touchdown pass in the first quarter. Then in the third quarter, Vandegrift scored the only other touchdown of the game on an 11-yard run that was set up by a 25-yard quarterback keeper. So your two big plays in that game, from sending it to overtime or winning that game against Vandegrift. So like I said, I think Ellison's the team we know the least about, and I'm not trying to knock anything because Waco High is really, really young, but I don't know how much we're going to learn about Ellison next week either.
Yeah, that is absolutely correct there. Well, I mean, big week next week.
Yeah.
Curtis Quillen, Nostradamus, he said the first thing out of the chute this past week, I think Holland and March should be our game of the week.
And
he was absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Hit the nail on the head. And, hey, we might have to get your choice coming
and
up
you know,
next week.
I just want to say,
excellent job,
you guys
buddy.
are trying to give me too much credit. I didn't actually say that Holland would win this. We just looked at the Dave Campbell's computer projections that had Mart as the favorite, and I said, and you guys can back me up on this, do not be surprised if we're talking to Talbert after the game instead of Coach Hoffman.
Yeah,
Because
that was in our
Holland's
squad text message.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to him earlier in the week, and he was like, he really thought that they could win the game. So, I mean, I don't have preconceived thoughts about these teams. So I was jumping on your bandwagon with this one.
All right, my man. Well, hey, good luck. Hey, listen, don't let them lock you out. You and Ryan fight.
You need to jump the
Please
fence,
jump the
maybe.
fence. Get home safely. We'll see you tomorrow at Baylor game. And
I haven't had to do this since 2016 when they did this to Jessica and I in week 11 at I don't even remember where we were. I think it was McGregor. So this is going to be interesting.
They want you out of there.
Just flip on the light on your
flashlight
iPhone
app.
All right, buddy. Good seeing you, my man. Be careful on the way home. All right, let's go do it for week 2 of Friday Night Lights. Wow, what a week.
It's flying by already, I feel.
know.
This football season comes at you fast. But yeah, great week. Some upsets. Love to see it.
All right, Baylor Bears tomorrow, Cowboys Texans on Sunday. We will see you under the lights week 3 next week.
Touchdown, Maynard.